O great Spirit, saints and sages of all times, of all places, O ye pathmakers of old, most beloved Lord divine, in all of thy names and all of thy forms, as thou hast been known in the past, in the present, in the future. O ye powers that be, the air, the earth, the fire, the water, the ether. O ye ancestors, those of our bloodlines, those of our spiritual lines, those of all the lines that lead to and from our consciousness. Namaste. We call upon thee today to be with us, to sweep free the cobwebs of the mind, to lift, to vivify, to help us today to ascend to ever greater joy and peace and equanimity, to expand our horizon of awareness, that we might find that which we seek. Om Tat Sat Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Om Shri Hanumanji Namaha. Om Shri Ram 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 Ram. Om Shri Sita Ji Namaha. Om Shri Sita Ram Hanuman. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Namaste. Welcome, welcome to our Sunday Sangha, our Sunday time together to turn inward, to lift upward, to find the strength that we need, the joy we need for the upcoming week. Once upon a time, once upon in time, in the ever-present now, there was a soul who was devoted to his sadhana, devoted to his practice, so devoted that he became the symbol of the devotee, so devoted that he became the symbol for millennium of all of those who were seeking to find greater enlightenment. He did one thing very, very well. He knew the name of his Lord. He knew the name of the divine that he was attuned to. And he called upon that name. There was no name for him but that name. There was nothing greater for him than that name. There was nothing that he needed more, nothing that he wanted more than that name. But his Lord, his master, sent him upon many journeys, many adventures. So here is a beautiful gift that I was given. This is the symbol of the Lord, a beautiful, beautiful symbol of the Lord. Isn't he just the best? His name is Hanumanji. 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 Wow. Is that right? Look at that. Why, he looks like he's a monkey. He looks like his body's in the form of a monkey. Now, what would you do being the most revered devotee in the entire realm of the earth plane, in the form of a monkey? Very strange. Very true. For Hanumanji knew the secret. The secret he knew was to focus on one thing only. That's all he did, one thing. In all of his breathing, in all of his getting, he turned to the name of his Lord. Ram, Rama, 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 Ram, Rama, Rama, Ram. Or, Ram, Ram, Ram. It matters not. It matters not the pitch. It matters not the repetition. It matters that he knew Ram, Ram. Now, because he was so devoted, he became very close to the Lord. He became very close to his Lord. Now, it's hard to believe this story, but I'm going to ask you to suspend all of your judgment and believe, go with me and believe with me for this day. All right, just this moment in time. Ram had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wife, Rama. Her name was Sita. Oh, she was perfect for him. They were the masculine and the feminine energies divine, perfect in every way. She balanced him, he balanced her. They brought the world into balance, and they brought their kingdom into balance. Now in the story, they have a kingdom, but upon the earth plane, the earth is their kingdom. But one day, someone kidnaps Sita. All right, So Ram, instead of going off himself to find his bride, instead of sending his army to go find his bride, well, who could do this the best? Who pays the most attention to me? Who is the most devoted? Who could I really trust to do this? I think let's go see what Hanumanji will do. Hanuman looks nothing like this. He's much bigger and he's filled with light, but it's a nice representation. He comes to reside in here, so it's all right. But you must think of him as a grand, grand, grand being, not petite. He goes before the Lord. Rama calls him and says, Hanuman, I have a problem. Yes, Rama. Yes, Rama. Anything I can do to help you. They took Sita. They took Sita again. Rama doesn't hear, Hanuman, he doesn't hear the again. He says, he hears that they took Sita. Oh, my Lord, I will find her. I will find her for you, and I will bring her back to you. Okay, so off he goes. He's got a whole army of fellow monkeys. Off they go, off they go, off they go. They pull out their map quests, they pull out their directions, they pull out their GPSs, and off they go. They pull out their metal detectors. They pull out their scent detectors. They don't stop to meditate, but they use a lot of devices. And they find Sita. Okay, Hanuman sees Sita. He grabs her up in his arms and he carries her back. He flies back with all the monkeys back to Rama. I told you had to suspend belief today. And in front of Rama, he sits very gently down. My Lord, here is your beloved Sita. Now, Rama appreciates the fact that Hanuman has brought Sita back to him. He says, "Thank you, Hanuman." And he says to Sita, "Ah, my beloved, it's nice to have you back again. I see they kidnapped you again." Hanuman doesn't hear it. He just hears, "I'm glad to see you back, and I see they kidnapped you." I did it. 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 C'est moi. It was me that found her and me that brought her back. And so he kind of got a little puffery. I know you've never had that happen. Kind of got a little puffery, a little puffed up in himself, walking around the kingdom. I brought Sita back. I brought Sita back. You know how it goes. At the same time, he's still chanting Rama, 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 Rama. Because in all of his ego puffery, he had created a habit. So in spite of the ego saying, I brought Sita back, I brought Sita back, there's still in his consciousness, Rama, 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 Ram, 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 Ram. So at one level, there's all of the clutter, the jibber jabber, the oh, I'm so wonderful. At another level, there's Ram, 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 Ram. But his ego gets a little irritating. Rama calls him in and says, I need you to go see my guru. I need you to go up to the high place. Hanuman, he wants to talk to you. My guru wants to talk to you. So Hanuman gets himself up, goes up to the high place to see the guru of Lord Rama. He walks in, he sees the guru, he bows, and he looks up with a big smile on his face and he says, I know you're going to tell me how glad you are that I brought Sita back. Hanumanji, sit down. Just sit. Sit down. Did you not listen? Did you not hear? In every kalpa, in every time, Rama comes back to the earth plane. The dream of Brahma arises, the dream of Brahma dissolves. When the dream of Brahma arises again, a new Rama at the right time comes back to the earth. And with Rama comes Sita. And again and again and again, Sita is kidnapped. And again and again and again and again, a Hanuman rescues her. Ah, ah, ah. I see, my Lord. This thought of being so special, this thought of my ego, it is an error. For I did nothing special. I just lived in the drama, the dharma. I did my dharma in this time, in this place. Now, what does that have to do with you? What does it have to do with me? Well, Lord Hanuman still is one of the most powerful symbols that one can study, pay attention to, learn from. And you might say, a symbol, what do you mean, a symbol? Well, there's a wonderful quote from the textbook, The Variety of Religious Experiences, which if you have not read is just a marvelous, marvelous book to study. All of our seminarians go there to study, and it's just, but it's fun. It's fun to read. And Monsieur Houston, he writes, speaking about how the mind is portrayed in Hinduism, how the mind is portrayed also in yoga, how the mind is definitely portrayed in Kriya Yoga. The motions, the movement, one would say, of the average mind is as orderly as those of a crazed monkey cavorting about its cage. And I'd say as a crazed monkey cavorting about, sometimes not in its cage. No, that's not really what the motions of the mind are like. It's more like a drunken monkey, a drunken, crazed monkey cavorting about its cage. And he says, no, I don't think so. That's not really how restless it is. It's really like a drunken, crazed monkey with St. Vitus dance cavorting about its cage. And then he says, nah, that's still not it. That's still not how the mind is. It's not quite right. The mind is like a drunken, crazed monkey with St. Vitus dance that has been stung like a wasp. Just stung by a wasp. Wow. And we call the mind, the monkey mind. In Eastern tradition, the mind is called the monkey mind because it moves from here to here. But we must learn to be like Hanumanji, even in this form of life, which we say, this is like a monkey swinging from here to there, to here, to there, to here, to there. This divine soul, this divine state of consciousness focuses on one thing. One thing. For that being that one thing is the name of Rama. Rama, 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 Rama. That may not be it for you. For you, for me, we need to find the name of the Lord that we attune to. We need to find the name of the divine that is most precious to us. Or if you would prefer, the name, the word, the form that encompasses everything. And that is the Om. Now, the mind jumps from here to there, from here to there, from here to there, from here to there. And yet the mind is your best friend. The mind is your grounds, is the grounds, the place for your sadhana, the place that your sadhana will find the most fertile opportunity to work, to do, to practice every day, continually, every day, every night, continually, every night, without you judging. Oh, what a miracle that is. Without you having to be doing a specific thing or sitting in a specific place, the mind will continue to be the grounds for your sadhana. Now, the first thing that really should be done is very simple, and it's quite important. And that is to recognize that you have multiple layers of your mind. You have the subconscious, the unconscious, that which you have no conscious of, subconscious, that which is right below that right above that unconscious. The subconscious is right below the everyday mind. And then we have the higher mind. You have the everyday mind, that's the monkey mind going around, and you have a higher mind, which is really the capacity of your mind to train the everyday mind and to allow the contents of the unconscious to move to the subconscious and to move to the conscious. And we do this by taking a part of your awareness. You take it and you place it about 3 feet above your head. Some people visualize this as a golden ball of light, a blue ball of light if you prefer. You need to find what is most comfortable to you. That piece of consciousness has one capacity, and that is that it observes. It's like a computer program, a very basic computer program, or a very sophisticated computer program, if you will. It observes, it just observes. It does not judge. It has zero capacity to judge. You have neutralized in that part of your consciousness the capacity to judge. You have enhanced and brought forth and put in priority the capacity to observe that which is happening in your life. Now, that means that which is happening, and some people first begin by looking at their external world to observe what's happening. I think that it is more helpful to begin by doing some seated practice in which you observe the thoughts that rise and fall and rise and fall. And we're going to do that for just a moment. So if you will, focus your attention, close your eyes, and focus your attention at the sun center, the point between your eyes. Hold your hand in the Om Mudra, sitting with your hands on your thighs, the hands cupped upward, the index finger and the thumb brought together in a circle. Turn the head to the left and exhale twice. Bring the head back to the center. Now beginning to watch your breath. Pull the energy from the limbs of your body to the trunk of your body. Use the sipping breath to do this. The next inhalation, use the sipping breath to pull the energy from the trunk of the body to the spinal column. Again, use the energy to pull the sipping breath to pull the energy from the base of the spine to the sun center. Move that energy out from your sun center as a golden ball of light, expanding it, and sweep around to the left, going counterclockwise, encasing your body 3 times in this golden light. And expand that light. Now ascend upward as high as you are able, leaving the room, building, above the continent, above the solar system, until you find the high place for you at this moment. Seating in the high place, find the high place. Sit in your meditation. Now take a portion of your consciousness and separate it from your everyday awareness, lifting it straight above you, 18 inches to 3 feet, whatever's most comfortable. This is your higher awareness. And now from this place, remember the words, "Isn't this interesting?" Hold a curiosity. Begin to watch the thoughts that rise in your mind. Just simply allow them to rise. Be aware of them and allow them to fall. Do not grab them. Thoughts arise, say, "Isn't that interesting?" and allow them to fall. Now let go of your observation. And take a moment to reflect. Where did your mind take you? Make note of it. What did you become aware of in that short time? Make note of it. Holding that feeling state. Holding the awareness of the higher mind. Observing. Return to your everyday awareness. Now the practice requires practice. You begin by sitting in a quiet place, quieting your mind, ascending to the high place, and placing this higher consciousness above your everyday consciousness. But in time, move it from your meditation practice to your everyday existence. And you set up times throughout the day in which you stop. So every time you take a drink of water, you stop and you check in. Well, what am I observing? What am I observing about my mind at this point? Now, you will also find that there is a link between what you're observing in your mind and what you're feeling in your body. Your body contains memories. Everything that you think, everything you say, everything you do is imprinted in your red blood cells. And therefore, your life is also imprinted here. And the life of your ancestors is here. In time, you set this up so that you do this. Link it to something. Some people link it to seeing a color. Every time you see the color blue, you lift your awareness up. You stop and lift your awareness up. Every time you take a drink of water, you stop and you lift your awareness up to pay attention. In a very short time, if you do this with regularity, about 49 days, this will become a habit. And so you will begin to carry with you the awareness of the fluctuations of the mind. And you will begin to see, oh, yes, I see. Oh, my mind is really agitated. I read that. You can feel the body will get all tense. Or, oh, my mind is really agitated. I heard that sound. I heard that person's voice. Oh, my mind is really agitated. I smelled this smell. Now, you don't want to grab onto the thought that the mind is really agitated. You want to say, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? What's the Kriya I need to do? Well, the first and immediate Kriya, when you become aware that the mind is fluctuating or it's rising in anger or there's fear or discomfort arising, the first thing to do is to turn to mantra. Turn to your breath if you prefer. You have your breath with you, and you have the ability to chant mantra with you. Attune to the divine, your form of the divine. Help me, help me, help me that I might help thee. You need to find for yourself one thing that works for you. For some of you, attuning to your breath. As soon as you become aware of the breath being out of sync, just becoming quiet and you heard me say the breath becoming out of sync. When the mind is out of sync, the breath is out of sync. When the breath is out of sync, the mind is out of sync. If the mind is agitated, the breath becomes agitated. And I encourage you to experiment, watch this, watch the breath of your body as it relates to the fluctuation of the mind. It will be very insightful, it will be very revealing to you, and it will be very helpful in calming your life and bringing a broader horizon of awareness to your life. See, the mind is like a drunken, crazed monkey with St. Vitus dance, stung by a wasp. And it is made more and more and more. It is fed to become more and more like this by certain activities that we do. Eating heavy meats, eating processed foods, drinking alcohol. All of these things cause the mind to become more agitated. Eating foods that do not sit with your body cause the mind to become more agitated. Drinking into your body by things that are not healthy for your body, sugary drinks, alcohol drinks, drinks that don't suit your body. I know for some people, chai made with cow's milk is great. For other people, they need chai made with goat's milk. Or other people, they need it made with oat milk. You need to know what is good for your body, what is comfortable and right for your body, for you to be able to sit and meditate, for you to be able to have the optimal, peaceful existence in your life. Happiness, contentment. And happiness does not mean that everything goes well all the time. It means that you gain a sense of, aha, I see, this is how it is. Now, how can I most wisely be at this time? How can I most wisely act at this time? But you have to do something. You have to have a Kriya. You have to do something. The mind must be disciplined and it will become your friend. So I've said a number of times, the observer practice is very helpful. Really, the magic of that practice is that after you do it, and 49 days is not very long for it to become a habit, so that you will be walking along in your life and you will pick up, oh yes, the observer will be aware of that which you are doing, even when you haven't activated it intentionally. And sometimes you may not like what it says. Sometimes you may not like what you see. You may not like the fact that the observer is saying, oh, isn't that interesting? Boy, you sure look mighty uncomfortable. Boy, isn't that interesting? You sure really look agitated. Are you enjoying that? Oh, isn't that interesting? You're getting ready to get yourself in a heck of a lot of trouble. If you speak what you're saying, or you speak what you're thinking, if you say what you're thinking, and then you add to this the great and most effective of the Kriya techniques, one of the most effective, the neti practice. The neti practice helps you. You say, when you see these thoughts arise in your mind, neti. I'm not this thought. I'm not the thought thinking this thought. I am not thought. Now, some of you learned this decades ago, and I can hear you saying, oh, here she goes again. Here she goes again. That neti. That's for beginners. No. In the words of my guru, Swami Pranananda, that is the practice that every seeker, every disciple following the path of Kriya Yoga needs to use and have in their Kriya practice bag, if you will, until the end of their incarnation, and then some, and then on and on and on. It is a very powerful, potent way of demagnetizing yourself from the thoughts that rise in your mind and neutralizing your consciousness, because that's what you want to do. You want to become to get rid of your relativity, to neutralize the relativity, so you're not relative to certain thoughts. If I want to be, single focused, I want to be relative to one thing that is helpful, one thing that is going to help me in my life, one thing that's going to help with spiritual unfolding. You don't need 5, you don't need 10, you need 1. And I look at this Murti, this blessed sacred image of Lord Hanuman, and it reminds me every time I see an image of Hanuman in my home, it reminds me, yes, Hanuman, who by his very nature, he was a monkey. By our very nature, our minds are like this. And yet he had the capacity to focus on one thing. And yes, his ego got in the way, but as his ego got in the way, he still focused on one thing. The name of the divine for him. So what is your one thing that you're going to choose today? We talked about the observer practice to help you to see the thoughts that rise in your mind. So you're not those thoughts. You don't have to do what the thought is. Do you know how much trouble people have gotten into over in the millennium because they said, well, so and so told me to do it? The thought that rose in your mind is what told you to do it. And the answer is okay, okay, okay. Enough already. You're not that. You do not have to act on every single thought that rises in your mind. It's not necessary. You will be much happier if you don't, if you do not act on everything that rises in your mind. Now, I started to say earlier, and I know I have mentioned this a number of times. I'm going to mention it again because it is truly, I think, something that as sadhana has evolved, one must pay attention to this. And that is, the use of technology. We're very blessed today. We're meeting over Zoom. We're all using technology. Be careful. You go up, down like this, whatever way you're going. Be careful of using social media. Be careful of how you use technology because it's splintering your mind. You need to be able to say, focus on one thing. And if you use some of the feeds of technology, your mind is being trained to have the attention span of a gnat. The mind is being trained. So many young people now, they tell me, talk for 3 minutes. That's all that I can pay attention to. There's a new podcast out by a very internationally known radio station, and it's a 6-minute podcast for parents and their children. 6 minutes is what they think that people can pay attention to. Don't let that, don't feed that, don't grow that. The lack of ability to pay attention allows you to be manipulated. It allows others to influence you. You need to be able to quiet the mind, quiet the body, enter into a meditative state, reflect. Allow the insight that you have to pour forth. Allow the wisdom that you have to pour forth. Allow the unconscious mind, the whole ice glacier, the whole awareness that you have within you, allow it to rise, to ascend, to come forth beyond the subconscious to your conscious mind. And you do this beginning to accept whatever these things are. There's a great magic and power in that observer technique practiced with the neti, neti, neti. It gives you the capacity. You do it long enough and often enough, and you gain the capacity to say, oh, that thought rose in my mind. Now, isn't that interesting? I wonder where that came from. Quiet the mind and reflect. Oh, wow. That thought rose in my mind. I wonder how I triggered that. Isn't that interesting? Turn inward and meditate and reflect, even for just a few moments. It doesn't take long. And so I'm suggesting to you today that you honor the nature of your mind and that you recognize and see in front of you the beauty that we have as this example of this beautiful form of the divine that is recognized throughout the world. The form of the devotee. It matters not whether you say, oh, well, I don't think that Hanuman exists. It doesn't matter. What matters is that the Lord Hanuman is a symbol, but a real state of consciousness, a state of consciousness that we can all achieve. The Lord Hanuman represents to us the mind that exists within all human beings. You are spirit. You are spirit encased in a soul, a memory tract, residing and having a human experience. And that human experience has a mind that acts like a monkey. That human experience not only has a mind that acts like a monkey, but it too can be trained, as we have seen, by focusing on one thing. And that one thing should be something that brings you joy. Something that brings you joy. One word, a mantra, is what I'm suggesting. Or if you prefer, your breath. I said to you that neti, neti, neti in combination with this is another, it adds to the effectiveness of the observer practice by helping you to see, I'm not this thought. I'm not the thought thinking this thought. Remember the story of the young man who wrote to Pranananda years ago, and he wrote from jail, and from prison rather, and he said, you know, I found one of your books. And he said, I was out walking the street, and some friends drove by in their truck, and they said, come on, get in with us. And he said, no, I've got something else to do. And they left and they went around the block. He said, I thought when they left, I knew I shouldn't get in. They came around again and they persuaded me to get in the truck. And they drove to a convenience store that they had planned to rob, unbeknownst to me. Guess what? I was there. I was an accomplice. I was caught. And now I'm serving jail time. Because I couldn't listen to what my awareness said. Because I could not avoid being persuaded by the others to do something that I thought was wrong. I didn't know why, but I thought it was wrong. That is you. That is me. We must gain the strength to say, not for me. No, thank you. Not for me. No, thank you. Sometimes we have life experiences that are very difficult. They're hard. A lot of times we have life experiences that are difficult, that are hard. But if you learn from them, if you say, all right, maybe I don't know now what led to this or how it happened, I don't know. But in time, I will see. Learn from those around you. Yes. See what they did. And as my guru used to say, no, not for me. No, not that. No, not that. And as a beautiful disciple of mine said this week to me, I was bullied when I was a child, and I hated every bit of it. But one thing, I have never done that to another person. I would never treat another person. No, not that. Learn from the good. Learn from the things that come into your life that are rough, that are hard, that you don't like. Learn. No, not that. I won't do that to another person. And so let us Let's spend the last part of our time together ascending to the hall of healing, as we so often go, to vivify and heal ourselves for the week, to vivify and strengthen ourselves for the week, that we might be able to do that which we need to do, that we might be able to have the strength to do that which we need done, and that we might, like Hanumanji, put our ego self aside, that we might, like Hanumanji, become devoted to one thing. If you know no other thing, repeat the name Om, Aum, Om, the sound of all existence. Manifest and unmanifest reality exist within the Om. The divine of all of its names and forms and all the times and places exist within the Om. The sound of the Om. If thou know no other thing, know the Om. Namaste. Let us turn inward. If you will, focus your attention at the sun center. Turn your head to the left with a double exhalation. And return to the high place of your meditation. Ascending from this high place, you see in front of you a path leading up a mountain. Easily walk upon that path, ascending up the mountain. Halfway up, you come to a grove. Enter the grove. And in front of you is a perfect shrine. Oh, made beautiful just for you. The shrine that at this moment, this very instant, is the most beautiful place that you can envision. You see it filled with light. You enter into the shrine. Light of the most beautiful color for you is shining within this shrine. You walk towards the back. And see a pool of light. Walk into that pool. Feel your shoes dissolving away. You see at the back of the pool of light a waterfall. Feel your clothing dissolving away. As you walk to stand under the waterfall, all of the old has dissolved away. You stand under this healing waterfall of light in the color or colors that heal you. Feel the light pour down upon your crown center. Feel the light fill every cell of your being. Know that all the old heavy karmas are washing away. The hurts of the past are dissolving away. The indecisions, the regrets, for everything that thou hast done that you are sad for. The waterfall of light sends forth the forgiveness of the divine. Thou hast been forgiven before the act was ever done, before the thought was ever thought. Thou art accepted as thou art. There is no thing that is not forgiven. All is forgiven. No regrets are needed. See only that which has been done and learn anew. The waterfall of light heals the shame, the guilt, the regrets, dissolving them away into the pool of light, transforming them into strength, into clarity, into awareness, into discernment. The blessings of the divine pour forth upon your being. Filling you, healing, strengthening, vivifying. The divine beings accept you as you are. They see you clearly. The beauty, the light within thee shines forth and is seen. Holding your attention at the sun center, see that which thou art. holding this love and acceptance and Ananda, Ananda, Ananda within every cell of your being. Leave the waterfall, walking through the pond into the shrine of light. Breathe in all of the healing energy. And know that you may return here at any time. As you walk out of the pool into the shrine, you have new shoes, new clothing, new vivified being. And you walk through the door of the shrine to the grove. And as you are ready, return to your high place of meditation. And when you are ready, return to your home, to your everyday awareness. Namaste. Be thou blessed. Be thou blessed. Be thou blessed. Thou art blessed. Share thy blessings with all of those who enter your aura. And today, when we celebrate and honor Navratri, the days of attunement to Om Shri Ravi Namaha, Om Shri Chandra Jiva Namaha, Om Shri Mangala Jiva Namaha, Om Shri Buddhi Jiva Namaha, Om Shri Brihaspati Jiva Namaha, Om Shri Shukra Jiva Namaha, Om Shri Shani Jiva Namaha, Om Shri Rahu Namaha, Om Shri Ketu Namaha. To the planets that so much affect our consciousness, may we find liberation in their highest good. Namaste.